Hello, my name is Andy Kella, and I'm partners with Korotkih. And today we are going to be speaking about alternatives to rewards and punishments, and why, in fact, rewards and punishments actually do not help motivate employees in the workplace. So, reasons why rewards versus punishments do not work in the workplace. So, research suggests, by and large, that rewards succeed at securing one thing and one thing only, and that is temporary compliance. It doesn't really help form a sense of longevity with organizational loyalty or things of that nature. It doesn't really create any enduring commitment or value. Just kind of is like a temporary quick fix to things, per se. Attempts to improve performance by manipulating reward packages and punishment packages have actually also proven to be counterproductive. So what this essentially means is they took a look at people who were receiving rewards and or punishments in the workplace and how these organizations kind of manipulate these packages. That include a number of different things, such as, a nice office or a higher salary, a bonus, stuff of that nature, have actually proven to be counterproductive in the long run of things for the organization. And that managers actually tend to use compensation, and I'm going to use the term compensation kind of loosely. I'm going to refer to it more as a reward than specifically compensation, but they kind of tend to use these rewards and punishments as a crutch, not really kind of getting to the bottom cause of things, but something that they can always kind of rely on. Like, for instance, I don't really know how to help motivate this employee, said employee, let me just give him a quick reward in hopes that he will act in the manner that you wish that they act. The reason it does not work specifically is punishment's main use is to help decrease the occurrence of a behavior that's undesirable. So, for instance, in business, this could be something such as like showing up late to work or a violation of code of conduct, policy, things of that nature. And the first reason it typically does not work is punishment and rewards tend to be most effective when the consequence or reward follows the behavior immediately, which in most cases does not occur. And it must be consistent with said behavior regardless of its punishment or reward. And also factors for effective punishment are different in individuals, and the magnitude of the punishers who are using said punishments or rewards also differ. So to get more specific, the first reason was punishment and rewards tend to be most effective when they follow the behavior immediately, which is not the case most of the time. Punishment and rewards, in order to be successful, have to follow said cause or behavior immediately. So, for instance, if an employee has trouble showing up to work on time and the boss gives them a smug look immediately as opposed to giving them a look 30 or 40 minutes later, will kind of help set up a more immediate reaction. Because if you were to give them a smug look 30 minutes later, the employee could be a little confused, and it could cause some interpersonal issues and just overall confusion in the workplace. Second reason being is that it must be consistent with said behavior regardless of its punishment. So whatever behavior you want to enforce or get rid of, your punishment reward system has to be consistent. So if an employee is punished 1 out of every 10 times that he's late, they're not as likely to stop the behavior as if they were punished every single time. And so consistency is really key, something like this, which is a big factor in enforcing specific behaviors. And then lastly, the last reason was factors for effective punishment and reward are different in individuals. So what may be a punishment to one individual may or may not be a punishment to another individual. So, for example, an employee who comes in late knows that he's going to get a slap on the wrist. He's probably going to be late more frequently than maybe someone who just got hired and doesn't necessarily understand the cultural norms or the overall organizational layout of that company. And I am going to be handing it off to my partner, Zach, to take it over.
Thanks, Andy. Now I'm going to go ahead and focus on alternatives. So the three topics that I'm going to cover in alternatives are the job characteristics model, showing genuine appreciation rather than predetermined rewards, and focusing on conversations of meaningfulness or wholesomeness. Okay, the Hackman-Oldham job characteristics model is a model that we should all be pretty familiar with at this point. It's a concept that we learned back in organizational behavior. It's essentially the 5 core job characteristics. And if you look at the table that we have here, I'm going to go ahead and read them off. It's going to be a little different, but essentially it's skill variety, task identity or skill identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback, and specifically feedback from the job. Now, what this means is, and let's talk about the 3 skill, variety, identity, and significance. What that means is it's experienced meaningfulness of the work. And I'm going to allude to that a little bit later in another slide. And the outcomes essentially are high internal work motivation, which is something that combats rewards and punishments. Autonomy is having the ability to work on your own, having that freedom, and essentially that contributes with having high growth satisfaction. You see your work increasing, your productivity increasing. And lastly, getting that feedback, that knowledge of your results, and having that meaningful attachment, that direct attachment from your efforts into results creates a high work effectiveness. And so if you look down on the bottom, there's a little box that says moderators, and that's having knowledge and skill, growth needs strength, and context satisfaction, knowing that what you're doing is meaningful and that you have the freedom to do it. Next alternative is showing appreciation. Simply showing appreciation can motivate an employee a long way. So to do that, make sure it's on the spot, it's specific, and make sure that the recognition is done at the appropriate time. All 3 of these combine to make a very big impact. When you do it specifically, or when you recognize them specifically, it makes sure it reinforces the knowledge of what they've done. Furthermore, if you do it at an appropriate time, the knowledge of that success is still fresh, and they have something to celebrate with. Next, you want to make sure that you give the recognition a personal touch. Understanding what small personal things that the individual likes is crucial. For example, if they love snacks or snacking at work, take the time to find out what little snacks that they like and provide them with that. By creating a gift-giving culture, you create a friendly atmosphere and you harbor more success. Adopting a peer recognition program is also vital. When fellow peers or colleagues or employees recognize each other's successes, it creates a greater atmosphere for success and a better area for psychological safety. Lastly, focusing on conversations of meaningfulness. Beginning to ask those basic questions in self-managing processes, employees can engage in conversations with their managers, their leaders, supervisors, and those questions that can be asked are, what can we do here that's meaningful? What creative choices can we think of to accomplish this or this task? How can we make sure that we're doing this work competently? Lastly, how can we make sure that we're actually accomplishing the purpose, whatever the purpose is or whatever the goals are? In that, you show that that task significance is coming back and people are now more intrinsically motivated than extrinsically motivated. And as we've known throughout this class and in all of our studies, we've seen, it's been proven time and time again, that intrinsic motivators have a significantly higher positive impact than extrinsic motivators. These are just a few points as to why rewards and punishments are not the best motivators in the workplace. On behalf of Andy and I, thank you.